All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of paying my bills with dividends. So this is my process of how I'm going to get all my bills paid with dividends. I've been investing in passive income through dividends for the past 10 years. I've tried other things in the past, real estate, doing the whole 401k, IRA route, and this just works best for me. I'm not a financial advisor. I own a business where I help business owners with their businesses. I'm not really an investing strategist, but this is just what I'm doing with my own money. So you can disagree with me all you want. That's fine. You're welcome to do whatever the heck you want with your own money, and that's the name of the game. So do your own research. Work with people who you trust with your money. So, and the answer to my question, somebody asked me yesterday, who do you trust with your money, Joe? And there's one person I really trust with my money. I look at him in the mirror every morning. And so that's why I manage my own investments, and that's just the way it is. So I'm going to sit out here next to the fire. I'm sitting here in Idaho today, and I'm smoking a cigar and drinking some coffee, and I'm going to do some investing. So this is my own strategy on how I'm going to do it. I've done it before, so I've been living on dividends for the last few years, and it's been great. And I've had enough people go, what if you could do it again? What would you do? And so that got my brain thinking, my wheels turning, on what I would do now if I had it to do over again with current and like the investments that are available today. So when I started the process 10 years ago, a lot of what's available today was not available back then. And so it just took longer. And so I kind of worked up a strategy. I'm going to go through that strategy. I'm going to invest $300 every single day and see how fast I can pay my bills with passive income. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around. I'm going to go through everything. So I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to share my screen. All right, here's the strategy. I'm not sure why my camera's not hopping around, but we're going to, I don't know, the goofy camera. It's a laptop. What do you want? I don't have any professional equipment. I think the most professional thing I have is this mouse. And that's it. So this laptop is about as good as I can get as far as an HP laptop, and it's pretty good, but it's not perfect. So, bear with me. All right, so here's the strategy. We're going to grow dividends to cover all my personal expenses. I kind of wrote down all my personal expenses. I just opened up bills and started putting them in here. So we got water. Trash is on average $60 a month. My gas bill, because I live in Idaho, is about $70 a month on average. Electric bill is less in the winter, but in the summer it's higher. So I kind of reached out to Idaho Power and asked them what my average was, and they said $150 a month. And so how much do I pay in fuel for my cars? Of course, gas prices are going up, but this is just average. And then car insurance, $500 a month. I actually think it's going to be more because I've got more teenagers starting to drive. So we'll adjust that maybe as we go on. Tax payments are $800 a month. Car payments about $900 a month. Food $1,200 a month. Rent $4,500 a month. And then I totaled it up, from yesterday. The 8580 is what I'm shooting for. And then this is the strategy, right? So build weekly payers. So I've got a list of weekly payers that I'm going into. My goal is to average 35% total return. So I think that the dividends are going to be payout higher, but some of those are going to, the share price is going to erode a little bit, and we'll dollar cost average down into that. So shares of weekly payers will be bought evenly, an even number of shares, and we're going to dollar cost average. So, to put this in perspective, yesterday I bought one of each one minus one because I didn't have enough money yesterday to finish that. So we're going to pick up where we left off. I'm going to invest $300 a day into weekly payers, and when we reinvest all the dividends into them until $400 a month, about $100 a week is being distributed. And so that's kind of the strategy around the weekly payers. And then once I reach that 400 in distributions, I'm going to start reinvesting, still reinvest 50% back into the weekly payers. Then I'll invest 50% into some monthly payers that I'm currently researching. And then I will use margin, and that's one of the reasons I'm using Robinhood. So all my other accounts are on Schwab. And so this is the first time I really use Robinhood. So I'm not an expert on it yet. Today's day 2 of me using it, but I will be using it, and it'll be awesome. So margin there is about 5%. compared to over 10% with Schwab. So it makes margin affordable. And I'm going to see if using the weekly payers plus margin will help me get to my goal faster. And that's kind of the strategy here. And the experiment I'm going into, this may work, it may not work, right? So again, none of this is financial advice. If you don't like my strategy, feel free to go somewhere else and find somebody else's channel to watch. I don't care. I don't make any money from YouTube or anything. So I'm going to put a link to Snowball in there because I do use Snowball Analytics. And so if you want to use Snowball, I put my discount code in there. And then there's a Robinhood link to give you some kind of discount off of their gold membership. I thought it was pro membership yesterday, but it's called gold, and it gives me access to margin cheaper, like the first $1,000 free, that kind of thing. So we're going to go with that. And then shares and monthly pairs will be bought evenly per number of shares, and dollar cost averaging will use there. So I'm just going to buy one every day, no matter what the price per share is. And then monthly pairs, my goal is to average a 10% return. And then I'm only going to use the monthly pairs to pay my personal expenses. So, I'm going to come down here and I'll kind of go, how many days did it take to pay each bill with monthly pairs? And of course, I've got geese flying over my head, and my microphone does not do noise reduction around me that well. So you get what you get. I'm outside in Idaho. And then, all right, so as we reach each one of these, I'm gonna go, how many days did it take to get this done? So this journey, last time it took me about 3 years. I'm hopeful that this is going to take me about half the time or less. So using margin and the weekly payers to speed up the process. We're going to find out. I don't know. So I believe it's going to work, but we're going to find out. All right, here's the list of let me move this thing over here, of the weekly pairs that I've identified. If you got any that you think are cool and want to see me add to the strategy, I've left some room for that. So put it in the comments below, and I'll go research them, and if they fit what I'm looking for, then I'll probably add them in. I was looking at the Walmart weekly pair from Round Hill yesterday. Somebody was telling me about it, and that sounds interesting because I don't have anything like that in here. This is mostly tech or broad market, like the Qs or SPY. So there's some Bitcoin in here, but I kind of count cryptocurrency into a technology play. So I've got crypto, I've got tech, got more technology. I believe in Palantir, which is why I put it in there. You can hardly go through and watch the news and not see Palantir's hands and everything that's going on in the world. So I believe that long-term Palantir, people get over their weirdness around AI and start investing in heavy when they realize it's going to run the whole world anyway. So Palantir is going to, I think this price is cheap right now. Who knows? It might go down, might go up, but that's why it's in there. And then I'm going to be using Robinhood, which is why I chose the HOW, the cover call strategy on top of Hood. So that's why that's in there. And then the top W, the strategy just changed from Round Hill from the W pay over to something that's more managed. So I'm interested in seeing the strategy at play. I've got all these in my other account now, but I want to see it in this type of format and see how it goes. So I think that they've got it sorted out, but we're gonna find out. Maybe not. So it has not performed well since they launched it when it was WPay, but maybe they got their shit together. Well, we're gonna find out. All right. So TSII and NVII, those are the rec shares. I wanted to kind of blend it between Nicholas, Round Hill, rec shares, Tap Alpha. I put a yield max in here just as that's the only yield max one that I think fits this strategy anyway. And then YETH, and then YBTC, which is the also Round Hill, but they're crypto play. I just needed something that really, blended out paying on Thursday is all. And I don't really have anything that pays on Friday that doesn't completely suck. So if you know of something that's a weekly pair that pays on Fridays that you think I should look at, feel free to comment in the comments. I will read those. All right. Let's get into it. So I added the extra $300 in here. You can tell I lost $1.38 since yesterday in this account. So no big deal. I do a buying power of $305 because I had $5 left over from yesterday. So I may be able to use that. Who knows? All right. So I changed this over from the Robinhood Legend over to the Classic View. I'm kind of just messing with this thing. So I like the way this looks better. So we're gonna go with that. So let's go over here, and I actually left off with PLTW. I skipped it and bought HOW instead yesterday. So all right, let's let's get into it here. All right, so over here we can, I got a buy order in. I'm going to do a limit order. As I kind of went over yesterday, I like to look at the bid and ask range. And if there's a difference, I'm going to put my limit price closer to the bid price. So I want to get my cost per share down as low as I can go. So ask price is $27.36. And, I want to get down as low as I can go. So I'm going to go $27.31 and see if I can get it to go through. I'm just going to buy one share and then market hours. And I'm just going to put a review order. I'm going to see what this looks like, right? So I don't know what this is saying to me. It's a leverage product. Oh, yeah. Just give me some kind of warning, as usual. So, all right. So let's see what happened. So let's review order. And let's see. And I actually hate this view. As soon as that order went through, it didn't do anything, and it didn't take me to a screen where I can see what my orders are doing. So let's go back to the Robinhood Legend and see if this gives me a better view here. All right, so we got recent orders. It's working on it. This seems to be better. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and replace this and bump this up by a penny and see if it goes through. So, all right. While it's doing that, let's go ahead and keep going on this list. So HOW, and we're just going to click this here, and I'm going to add this. Let's click on that guy. Maybe able to click on it here. Maybe not. All right, filled my order, so that's nice. All right, I actually kind of hate this too. So this is not allowing me to buy the way that I want to. Positions. Interesting. Again, I'm not familiar with this platform. So yesterday I was able to click on it here and go ahead and buy, and now it's not letting me. So what a goofy thing. So we're gonna go over here and see if I can buy it here. Increase position. There we go. So we're gonna go limit buy on HOW, and it looks like we got 22.91, 22.92. So there's not much difference between the two, but I'm gonna drop it one and see if I can get it 1 cent cheaper, which looks like I was able to do that. So it did fill that order. So now I got 2 shares at HOW. Let's go in order here. Top W is my next one. You think I'd be able to add to the thing over here? I like this view better. So, oh, there it is. Increase position. So top W, we're going to go limit order, quantity of 1. And then $33.97 is my limit price. So I'm going to add that in here, and I'm going to see if I can get it a little bit cheaper. So I'm trying to dollar cost average my stuff down a bit. So see if that'll work. So let's go with status filled. It's working on that one. We're going to let it rock while we go to the next one, which is TSII. All right. And of course, my cigar went out. You get to watch me relight this son again. So, all right, market limit quantity 1953. We're going to drop that down, and I'm going to buy 1 share of TSII. And of course, top W went through while we were playing around with that. So let me get this the cigar relit, and we're going to be back at it. All right, NBII. I do like the NVIDIA stuff. There's people who are like, oh, AI is terrible, blah, 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 blah. Don't invest in AI. I think AI is, all this stuff is going to rock for quite some time. So whether it continues to kick ass or not, I'm no expert, but I did come from tech, and I worked in the tech space, and I can tell you the investment that they're putting into these data centers and what they're building out for AI is huge. So I can only imagine that NVIDIA is going to take advantage of a lot of that. So I think when people get over their reluctance to buy into these things, that those things will go up. All right, TSYX, TSYX. Let's increase our position here by one. Change the limit. Then we're at 21.27. These orders are ripping through, so I'm just going to keep on doing this. All right, so TDAX, we're going to increase our position here, and these investments from Tap Alpha are kind of interesting to me. I do like Tap Alpha. I think that their other monthly funds have been great. That doesn't mean that these ones are going to perform well. I have no idea. They might be great. They might suck. That's the thing about the strategy difference between weekly payers and monthly payers. You could have two companies or the same company even doing a monthly payer and a weekly payer on the same underlyings or on the same strategy and have wildly different results. It seems like so. That just tells you that investors are not to be trusted. With their judgment, they just don't. They don't really. They just make most of their decisions with emotion, and that's fine. If people want to do that, I like it when they emotionally drive the market down, and a bunch of people who are the buy low, sell high people end up doing the opposite. So, which is most of them. So, most of the people I know that are like, I'm going to buy this low and sell it high, they end up panicking when the market drops. Warren Buffett, he says you should expect emotionally that your investments at some point, if you invest in the stock market, will drop by 50%. You got to have the emotional fortitude to handle it. And most people don't, I think. I think most people don't. And so, it's been fine for me because I got over the freak out moment at the very beginning of my investing life, and it went down heavily, and I was like, oh no, I'm going to lose all my money, and I stayed in it, and it was totally fine. So, through COVID and everything else, the stock market's been up and down and super crazy, and I've made money, lost money on paper, and done just fine. So I'm going to change these orders and see if I can get them to punch through here. So Chippy's all over the place. So 56.65 is the bid and 56.84. That's a big range, right? So I'm gonna try and get it to go through and save me 20 cents a share on that thing. So I'm not sure what I just did there. I guess I maybe placed it again instead of replacing it. So I'm going to cancel that one, and then I'll just replace this one. And look at that. The bid price is like 27 cents difference. So I'm just going to go ahead and see if it'll go through at that level. TDAX I think is a little closer, so we're just going to go ahead and replace this. I can tell you after using Robinhood for a couple of days, I prefer Schwab. It's just a more professional platform, but I'm willing to put up with the BS with it in order to get that margin rate lower. I mean, if the margin's going to be that much lower, I'm going to take it. That being able to use margin at 5%, that's freaking nuts. I think I can make some good money with that. All right, let's go. So the next one is YETH. Let's go ahead and increase position. Limit buy, and what do we got here? Ask is 11.59, and bid is 11.51. So let's see if we can get it for 11.51. I don't know what's crypto doing today. Let's go see. It's going down. So Bitcoin is dropping. So I imagine these other ones are dropping too. So YBTC, this is probably where my losses came in. So I'm going to go ahead and increase my position into that limit. And what are we at? 21.40 on the bid price. Let's see if we can get it for 21.41. And Chippy, I think I'm going to have to monkey around with this thing quite a bit to get it to go just because of that wide range on the bid and ask price. So we'll just increase it by 2 cents per share until I get it to go through. Now you get to see behind the scenes on how I do this stuff. So It filled it. So it won't let me replace it because it filled it. All right. So, all right, let's go ahead and replace the yes one. Um, let's add 1 penny here and just let it go through. All right. How much money do I got left? Buying power, 45.31. So I'm back on blocks. So I should be able to buy a share of blocks with that. Increase position and limit. And what do we have? 40. Ask price is 14.06. Bid price is 13.95. Let's see if we can get it down to 13.95. I think that sounds pretty good. If I can get it to go for 13.95, that'd make me pretty happy. All right, so Round Hill, $45. I'm gonna have to skip that one and go back to PLTW because I don't think I can do Maggie. I don't have enough buying power, so I got 31.36. So 26.76 is where I'm at. So I'm gonna go to, what did I say? PLTW. PLTW. This alphabetical order it is. All right, so let's do increase position, limit, and then let's get this thing for bid price 27.11. Let's go 12 on that. In the interest of time, I don't have time to mess with this thing forever. So replace. Let's get blocks. Let's add a penny to that and see if that'll go through. And then yes, let's add a penny to that and see if that'll go through. Or 2 pennies. Let's add 2 cents to that thing. People make fun of me for doing this, but I'm telling you, I've been able to dollar cost average my costs down significantly, just saving a penny here and there. Pennies make all the difference when you're dollar cost averaging. Pennies make a difference, and over time, my return on my investments. If you think about it, if I dollar cost average down a penny here and a penny there, for over thousands of shares, it's significant. It's a significant amount of money that I've been able to get my cost on stuff down. So and normally I'd let these sit for a bit and see how they do, but I got other stuff to do, and so do you. So no need to sit here and watch me do this all day. All right, we got that one to go through. Replace. And then once we're done with this, I'm going to go update Snowball and see where we're at. Tomorrow I'm going to get paid. So tomorrow is Wednesday. I own shares in like Top W, which is going to pay tomorrow. TSII and NVII are going to pay tomorrow. So I'm excited. So that'll be the first round of dividends coming out of this account. It ain't going to be much, but we're going to use what we can to make this thing go faster. And I can tell you, in a couple weeks of doing this, the dividends are going to be fun, right? So I always get excited. Even the very first dividend payment, I get excited. So see if I can get these things to crank through here. All right, so bid is 14.01. Let's replace that out. Okay, that one went through. Replace. Yeth is now at 11.59, which is why it didn't go through. So we're going to make that 11.60. Boom. All right, so got our prices down a little bit, and I have $4.09 in cash, and that's about it. All right, so my year-to-date loss is $3.51, of course, because crypto is taking a nosedive today and not doing well on that. And so you can kind of see my weekly pairs list over here that I created. Everything is down today. Yesterday was a green day. Actually, Chippy's up, but everything else is going down because almost all these are tech or crypto, and of course those are taking a nosedive today, which is good for me. I can dollar cost average down. So again, I like it when the market's down more than up. All right, so let's go over to Snowball. All right, you can see my total profit is down $2.43 according to this. So let's sync it and see what it does. So should be able to run a sync on this and see where we're at. All right, so got my holdings in here, my increase. So we're just going to refresh this. All All right, I'm up to $242.16 annually. So that's good, which is a 40.79% return, which on dividends, that exceeds my 35% goal. But the 35% goal is total return, not just dividends. So we're going to see how that goes when it all comes down. So according to this, I've lost $7.03 on my value of my fund, which is fine with me, which is kind of interesting because I invested $599.98, and then it says that the value is $597.76, and that's $2.22 exactly. So so it went up yesterday and then went down today, which is why that changed there. All right, so let's look at a couple things here. Number one is the top gainers is Chippy TSII. It says is going up today. PLTW, HOW, everything over here that's all got crypto behind it is all dropping. So you can kind of see everything in here. So let's go over to my portfolio. Let's go to the dividend calendar and take a look here. I love the dividend calendar and Snowball. This is my favorite feature. I get to see when I'm getting paid. So like I said, I'm getting paid tomorrow. I'm gonna make $1.43 tomorrow. Sweet. I'm gonna love that. And then $1.69 on Thursday, and then next week I'm going to get paid as well. And then let's pump it out one to April, and you can kind of see that these payments are going to kind of roll through. Obviously, these are going to increase dramatically as we add more. So as I'm investing tomorrow, these are going to increase. So right now, you can kind of see the average monthly is right around $18.89, which means I'm making 62 cents a day. Getting rich over here. So this is usually when people go, Joe, I invested $600 and I'm only making $20 a month. And I'm like, but that's $20 bucks you didn't have to work for, which is good enough for me. I like buying back my time one share at a time. And that's really the goal here is I want to buy back my time one share at a time. So I'm trying to get to that point where this $226 is double what it was yesterday. And so, every single day I'm going to see a pretty dramatic increase in how much money I'm making. So by the end of this week, after I've invested the first $300 a day, that's $1,500. This is going to be looking pretty sexy. So, all right, so let's go over to analytics real quick, and then look at a couple things. One is dividends, so we can kind of see what the payouts are going to be, which ones are the higher payers, and you can see. I love these charts. Coming in here and see what's going to actually make the biggest difference. So the dividend yield on cost, that kind of thing. So I can go through this and look at each one of these, and then I can see what my breakup is. So. Obviously, this is my passive income diversification. So I don't have much diversification right now. I'm pretty top heavy into Chippy and HOW and NDII, and then there's a steep drop off into the TSYX and TDAX. And what's interesting is on my main account that I own a lot of shares of Yes. And Yes, one of my highest payers. When I owned it when crypto was on the rip last year, and made so much in dividends off of it. It's almost paid for the shares. So it's been a good payer for me. Whether it's going to continue to perform like that, I don't know. But I love it so much that I'm just buying more. That's just me. All right, so let's go to my goal real quick. As I mentioned, my first goal is to get to $60 a month. But I'm going to do that with the monthly payers, not the weekly payers. I just want to see how this would look, and we can manipulate this. We know that I need to make what do we say, 8,000, 8580 a month. Let's do some math here. Pull up a calculator here and do a calculation. So 8580, is that right? 8580 a month. Times 12, that's 102,960 a year. 102,960. So 192. All right, 102. All right, 102,960. I'm going to save this, and then it'll tell me I get achievable in 3 years with my current stuff and current amount of money that I'm investing. So I think that's going to go faster. That's how fast I did it last time. I think I could do it quicker. So we're going to find out if margin changes this, and the strategy around using the weekly pairs makes this go faster. In fact, I'm going to leave this as the goal, and we're going to see how fast we can make this happen. So if I can get to that point where I'm doing $102,960 a month, and if I can do it in say a year and a half, we know that the strategy works. If it takes me 3 years, we know that my strategy was just as good as the last one, and or maybe if it takes longer, then we know that the strategy sucks. So that the only way to know that these strategies work is to test them, and I'm testing with my own money. Do what you want with your money, and we'll see where we go. All right. So that's it for today. I am going to go over how I research some of these investments tomorrow, and in this sheet, which you'll be able to download below, I'm actually going to make these all into hyperlinks. You'll be able to click on this Google sheet. You'll click on these, and they'll go directly to like Nicholas's page on this particular on block. So you'll be able to see